is Carrie Bladorn. I'm the owner and program director of Eggspecting Inc., an egg donation agency. I'm also a multiple-time egg donor. Today I'd like to give you a brief overview of the egg donation process. The egg donation process can be broken down into many steps. These steps are education, application, selection, screening, legal, stimulation, and retrieval. Egg donation is not something that should be considered lightly. It's important to understand your role and responsibilities as an egg donor. Before filling out an egg donor application, you should educate yourself on the egg donation procedure, risks, time commitment, and understand any possible emotional or physical implications. Once you've done your research, if you do decide that you want to become an egg donor, and you meet the minimum eligibility requirements, then it's time for you to move on to the egg donor application. The egg donor application must be completed in detail, accurately, and honestly for possible acceptance into a donor program. Once you have completed your application and it's been reviewed by the agency, you will be advised of your inclusion or rejection for the program. Agencies work with egg donors, infertile couples, and clinics all over the United States, so you do not have to live near the agency to be listed in their database. If you've been accepted into an egg donor program, next the selection process can begin. Prospective parents will review donor profiles and select a donor that they feel is right for them. Once a donor has been selected to cycle, she can then move on to the screening phase of the egg donation process. During screening, a donor will attend multiple appointments for medical and psychological screening. During the medical screening, a donor can expect to have her blood drawn to test for genetic abnormalities, blood typing, hormone levels, STDs, diseases, drugs, and nicotine. She will have a vaginal ultrasound to check her reproductive organs, possible pelvic exam, physical, and any other test the fertility physician deems necessary. Once the donor has passed all her medical screening, she will meet with a licensed psychologist to discuss her mental history and be advised of any psychological implications of the egg donation process. The psychologist will then determine if the egg donor is mentally sound to donate and issue psychological clearance. The next phase in the egg donation process is legal. Before the donor can start any cycle medications, a legal contract between the intended parents and egg donor must be drafted and finalized. Although this contract is a direct contract between the intended parents and egg donor, all parties will still remain anonymous from one another through the aid of the agency and the attorneys. Once the contract is finalized, the actual cycle can begin with synchronization. The egg donor and recipient's menstrual cycles will be synchronized and the donor's ovaries suppressed with the use of birth control pills. Some protocols will use Lupron to aid in suppression. Lupron is an injectable drug that is self-administered subcutaneously or just below the surface of the skin. A donor will typically administer Lupron for 10 to 14 days leading up to their next period. At this time, an office visit is required to establish a baseline. The donor will have their blood drawn to test hormone levels, and an ultrasound be performed to view the ovaries, count the resting follicles, and make sure there are no cysts present. Once a baseline has been established, it's time to move on to the stimulation phase of the cycle. During the stimulation phase, you will be instructed to administer daily injections of follicle-stimulating hormones. These injections typically last 8 to 14 days. These 1 to 2 weeks will be very busy as you're monitored closely by your doctor from now until the egg retrieval. You can expect anywhere from 4 to 9 visits to the clinic during this time. Every egg donor is unique, as is her body's response to the hormonal injections. It's extremely important to follow your doctor's instructions about medications, timing, and dosages exactly. During each of your monitoring office visits, you'll have your blood drawn and a vaginal ultrasound will be performed on your ovaries. These tests determine how well the cycle is going and if any adjustments to your medications need to be made for optimal results. Once it's been determined by your physician that you're ready for retrieval, you'll be given instructions on your HCG injection. This one intermuscular injection of HCG must be self-administered exactly 36 hours prior to the egg retrieval. The HCG will help to mature the eggs in your ovaries. The final step in the egg donation process is the egg retrieval. During the egg retrieval, the donor is asleep under mild sedation. Egg retrieval is done as an outpatient procedure in which the donor's eggs are retrieved by ultrasound-guided follicular aspiration. Follicular aspiration is when a hollow needle is inserted to the top of the vaginal wall and into the ovaries. This needle is used to suction out those follicles, allowing the doctor to extract the fluid containing the eggs. The whole painless procedure takes anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes. Following the retrieval, the donor should stay in bed for the remainder of the day. Some things a donor may experience following the egg retrieval are mild cramping and bloating. These should subside in a few days and shouldn't keep you from getting back to your normal activities. Within days of the egg retrieval, the agency will forward the donor her final compensation. Although each egg donation cycle is unique, typically the egg donation process from selection to retrieval is about 3 to 4 months. Again, my name is Carrie Bladorn from Eggspecting Inc., and thanks for watching this short overview of the egg donation process.